What they say?
I can't hear the meeting. Let's see.
You mute us.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Susan Fry with Thacker Pass Concerned Citizens in Orvada. And I'm the chairman of that and also kind of the de facto public information officer for Orvada. I just wanted to comment in favor of you guys entering into the contract to build a new school for us out there. This is a really big step for us and we've been working hard at it for 5 years now. It's not the same thing that was presented to the community initially, but we've all learned a lot along the way and adjusted those expectations. And the most important thing is that it is not taking anything away from the kids with what they have now. And their priority for us out there has always been for the kids' safety. So especially now that we're starting to see, you know, trucks like speeding by the school every day and whatnot. It's just really important that we get this going now so that the kids can get to a safer place there. I just want to thank you all for your support in allowing us to participate in this process. And I think it's a really good example of what we can do with a strong community voice and participation and, you know, bring everybody together and figure out solutions to problems as they come up. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last time I was here, I don't think you guys heard me, so I thought I'd dress up a little bit this time.
Make sure you speak your name clearly for the record.
Oh, John Demos, D-E-N-I-L-O-S-S. This is a very important moment for me because for 2 years I kept my mouth shut. And that's a lot of shutting up for a guy like me. Have you guys ever seen a president that took an art class, became president? I served 3 generals, probably like a 5 full bird and half a dozen lieutenant colonel in my 20 years. I asked them, any of you guys done artwork? No. But we have a leader. Leadership, the word leadership really bugs me because in leadership, I never got first place. I was first sergeant, I was sergeant major, I never got first place because I had a little belt. But I'm losing it though, because I don't have my food to eat from when I'm at the food bank. But anyway, so I was the second man because I had the brains and I had the fat belly. I had the fat belly because I'm sitting there thinking of what to do, right? They always had a good looking black guy or a white guy up in the front. That's leadership. Well, if you look at me right here, I try to match. But that leader you got, don't match. And I've been doing my investigation and everybody says, John, it's because of who she is. No, stop, just stop. I have served with soldiers who are, you know, whatever they want to be, but every day they come out looking just like me or better. Better, sharper, image, better. This particular person, if you look at that flyer I gave you, I didn't make it. Guess who made it? Her. You guys have a high school. You've got a whole bunch of computer freak kids, right? My daughter's one of them. She got a little presentation. I know that you guys didn't say nothing about it, but it's okay. It's out there. She got $100 for it. She's a genius. And she ran for office, but she didn't get selected because her mom didn't or dad didn't work for the school district. But that's okay. That's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for, and she listens to Taylor Swift. And I know that people that's not gay hates Taylor Swift. But we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is, would you take me seriously if I dressed like this at a graduation, at a award ceremony? Well, my kid in 2 years is going to graduate, and she's praying for valedictorian. Please, I'm praying because she cries when my eggs are done wrong for her. All right? So I'm going to tell you something right here. If you look at that flyer, pass it around, but somebody don't want this one, huh? If you look at this flyer, how much more minute I got? Do I got plenty of minutes? If you look at it,
20 seconds.
20 seconds, I'm handicapped, add some more. Right here, that could be expanded. I took, when I was a welfare mom, look at this, stop looking. You already got a copy, you passed it down. Look at this. I'm tough on him because I know he can take it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to upgrade our school district, our school. Now, somebody I love dearly said, John, make sure you come here and you don't identify yourself because I don't want to be embarrassed later. So I ain't gonna wear a hat when I'm inside a building.
Sir, your 3 minutes are up. If you could wrap it up, please.
Oh, well, that's it then, because I don't like to break any laws. I wanted to take this damn hat off because it's hot. You gotta take care of it and go get my slippers on, because you know, it's a message here. I gotta go back and walk on the turd and the birds. Thank you very much. Is this for anybody?
Yes.
I think I'm running out. I won't make it down to the car. God bless you guys. And remember, police cams are the best thing. Cameras everywhere. I support it.
Is there any further public comment this evening?
Okay, Jennifer, you go now.
Okay, seeing none.
You gotta follow that next time.
Moving on to item D, the superintendent's report.
All right, good evening. I'd love to start my report by congratulating the class of 2026. I had the opportunity to attend graduations for Adult Ed, McDermott, and Lowry this last week, and every ceremony was unique and special for the students. It was incredible to hear what the future has in store for these kids and to partake in their success. We've spoken a lot about different pathways to success this year, but it struck me at these different graduations that it's certainly not linear. The amount of students earning CTE endorsements, going into the military, attending college, entering into a trade, or just gaining an adult diploma after a life of curveballs clearly represents the ideal that this board and myself, I know we want to represent. So congratulations, and we're super proud of all of you. I want to thank Sonoma Heights for their invite to the project-based learning event on the 28th. It was great to spend time listening to the students present their projects and demonstrate their learning. It was obvious that this work had meant a lot to them, and they had to learn more, and they had learned more about their passion project. It was also neat to see the demonstration of learning through a different form of assessment, and it solidified the idea that there are multiple ways to demonstrate what a kid knows. As we continue to embrace more learning like this, I encourage the schools to invite myself and the board so we can continue to see these efforts. I want to extend a thanks for myself and all our administrators in this district to Roy Casey. Roy spent 3 years with this district and has become an integral part of this leadership team. I can't even begin to tell you how many of our administrators lean on him for decision-making, planning, and improvement in their discussions with teachers and parents. Mr. Casey is retiring this year, but his impact has been profound, and we're all better leaders thanks to his work, and we appreciate the value he brought to all of us. I want to extend a huge thank you to Tracy Neely from A&H Insurance for her work in educating our staff on our new insurance plan and models. Tracy's found a way to make time for any and all of our employees in our district to meet with them and learn what opportunities are best for them and their families moving forward. Her dedication to this craft has been notable, and I believe it will make long-term fundamental changes to our insurance system. I think she's lived here for a month now at this point, so we might as well. I think she's back as a permanent resident, I'm not sure, but quick update on grammar school. McElhaney's working on the engineered drawings. I did confirm that, and while we're still trying to locate someone to test the masonry, they are beginning the work on the drawings in other areas of school that are impacted that don't include the masonry at this point. I would also note that I checked this morning and the House Appropriations Committee approved the FY27 THUD funding, her House of Urban Development funding, moving it forward to a vote for the House and Senate. This is the next step in the process of receiving federal fiscal support from our candidate. As we begin the move to K-6 this week, I really want to take a moment to thank the administrators involved in this process. They spent a great deal of time together planning their move, and their details and organization will make the process, or made the process, so much easier. I have to adjust that after a text I just got. I also want to thank the teachers for your patience and grace as this move affected the vast majority of our district. Your organization and work will help us complete the process much quicker and hopefully have everything in place by early next week. Finally, I want to thank the maintenance team for stopping everything for the second time this year and supporting this big move. We have a couple of them sitting in the back unintentionally, I believe, but on both occasions, they worked tirelessly without complaining and grumbling and always do it with a smile on their face and a spirit to pitch in and help anyone and everybody. They really should be commended for their attitudes. And I wrote this yesterday, but I want to point out we're done as of today. They moved. I can't even tell you how many classrooms in 2 days. So the move's done and complete. So
Thank you guys.
unbelievable work from them as always. Probably need a nice bath, but yeah, I know I do after walking up those stairs a million times yesterday. But I want to note also that I had the opportunity to work on an application with a student from Lowry High School. Her name is Zayetsi Chalico, to serve on the Commission for the Future of Learning in Nevada, which is something that I serve on. If selected, Zayetsi would be a rural student voice on the commission, which is much needed as the majority of these kids come from large urban areas. Zayetsi is incredibly passionate about leadership and change, and I'm excited to support her candidacy, and I hope she's nominated. Zayatsi has also expressed interest in interviewing for our next student board member position as Jovi heads off to college and we make that decision next year. So excited to meet this young lady and get to work with her. Finally, I want to personally thank Jovi, although she's not here tonight, for her work on this board. It's never easy being the first on anything, but Jovi demonstrated great ambition and courage in taking this position. And I've enjoyed meeting with her regularly, understanding her passion for change and learning from her and her student perspective. Thank you for her efforts, even though she's not here, and thank you for setting a path forward for our future students. And we will certainly be missed, and that is my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for me? Seeing none. Moving on to item E, celebrations. Noelle, I understand you are heading our celebrations this evening.
Yes, super excited. So many of you know we entered into an adventure with a complete rezone of K6 per your vote, yay. And I don't think you realize, or maybe you do, how much work that entailed in a short amount of time. When we came to you, it was going to be 20 weeks. Well, we did things a lot faster than we thought. And some critical people that worked overtime and looked at every kid in their school, got proof of residency, and they're not all here tonight because we had a little miscommunication, so some of them couldn't come. But I first want to recognize all of the secretaries in the building. These guys took proof of residency forms from every kid in their school, verified them in IC, figured out which school they're zoned for. Those that they didn't get back, they called. It was a ton of work in about a week and a half's time. So our first ones, I think Sonoma's not here, but I still want to give them a shout out. Elvia and Sandra from Sonoma. And then I have Jessica and Mondi, come on up. We wrote you a little poem, we won't read it out loud, but it's kind of a fun little ditty bop. Okay, from French Ford, we have Tammy and Letty couldn't be here tonight. That's Letty's too. And then the other two building secretaries that couldn't be here tonight were Vicky and Lisa from Grass Valley, so give them a little. Then we had another group of folks, and this was like voluntold by Noelle. And so part of our team, or voluntold by Anthony. And so Anthony and Olivia and I have all been a team. Well, we then recruited Claudia, and then we recruited Wes and Alex. One morning I came in at like 7, and Anthony's on one side of my office table, and Wes and Alex are on the other, and they're highlighting kids, making sure going one by one with every single one of our K6 kids. And so when we say it takes everyone to do this job, even our 2 mechanics came in and were helping our head of transportation do all of this to make this move. So it took everyone. So if you 3 as well as Claudia would come on and let's take it. Claudia. And again, let's give them a huge round of applause.
Come on up, everybody. Everybody, guys, come on up here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I know that
Thank you.
Slow, Wes.
Squeeze it.
What's that?
Moving a little slow.
Man, I'm a little sore, a little bit.
Big smile.
Hold on, because you guys trying to get you all in there. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Wait, Noelle, stay here. I just want to say too, Noelle and Deanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll surprise she didn't run out the door unless you had the chance. Oh, wait, no, we did not. We did not. Sorry.
What if I'm not?
All right, moving on to item F, consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to item G, discussion and possible action items. Moving on to item 2, discussion and possible action regarding the acceptance of the liability insurance renewal proposal from Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool and approval for payment for fiscal year 25-26 funds for possible action.
We have our team join us at the front, or I think a couple of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All 4 of them are gonna get up there somewhere. Yeah, thank you. So, you know, we've been in this relationship for many years with the pool and with A&H. And, you know, some years we have increases, some we don't. We're happy to report to the board this year. We actually have a decrease in our liability insurance, which is, you know, really exciting to come here and report, especially in these times. It's always a nervous phone call, but Marion was happy to inform us a few weeks ago that we were in good shape. So I will turn the tables over to you guys to present your information, and then we have, obviously, if there's any questions, we can be here to answer them. So
Okay.
thank you for all your work, everybody.
All right, Mary Ann Rotman, A&H Insurance for the record.
Stephen Romero with Pullback.
Thank you, Colby, for the acknowledgement of my colleague, Tracy. So that just shows that we're not just this insurance, but we also do health insurance. We help the community, not just the school district, but individually. We are a full service agency and we're here to help anyone in the community. We pride ourselves on specifically working with rural communities. We have offices in 5 other rural communities, like brick and mortar offices, because we feel that that's important in the small communities. They like to show up. So we really pride ourselves on being there for the community. So we are, just if you'll indulge me just for a minute about our agency a little bit, we are a 3rd generational agency. We've been in business since 1957. And I already mentioned that we have offices in 6 other communities and we do participate in a lot of local events, the charitable, like the Safe and Sober Grad Night, for example, with the school district. We do have a dedicated service team that represents the school district with respect to the pool pack policy, myself being the main contact, my husband and business partner Scott here, and Kayla Frost is our manager for the municipalities, as well as our sales manager. And then we have Tanya and Lori who handle the day-to-day servicing that is needed. Last year, I think we may have mentioned that we do offer a small grant that we like to do in conjunction with the pool if possible. Otherwise, you can, if anybody would like to apply for a grant for some kind of educational, anything that you might need, we're doing 10 $500 grants. So if it can go towards some type of education, anything that you guys might need, it's just a simple application, and we pretty much say yes to pretty much anything if you need it. Just to touch briefly on our relationship with the pool pack, we've been working together now for a minimum of a decade. So we have a phenomenal relationship with the pool. They're great partners. This is the most comprehensive program available in the marketplace. And I just think the world of these guys working with them. And today, this program represents 146 different entities across the state. So of course, we want taxpayer funds to go a long way. That being said, Stephen, would you like to talk about the state of the market?
I certainly will. Actually, if you could scroll to whoever's scrolling the pages.
There's a page you wanted to touch on. 15, page 15.
This is probably the easiest one for us just to touch on, because we actually had some challenges this year at pool that ended up turning out to be very positive for all our members. I know that you did see a decrease. It wasn't a huge decrease, but in all for that 146 members, we ended up seeing very positive results overall. So not only am I the relations manager, I'm also the broker for the pool and place all the coverage for the pool. One of the things that we ended up doing when we were over in London this year, and I know that sounds all nice and fuzzy and everything else, but understand that in 2.5 days, we have 17 meetings that we attend. So it is no vacation by any means. It is 100%. We get on in our meetings, we're on the ground and we're working for those 146 members. We took $8.6 billion worth of insured value to the London market this year. London has been handling our property placement for the last 22 years. While we were there, some of the things that we discussed and what came out of we actually just finished our strategic plan as well. We had a retreat in November that invited all the board members. So this is your pool. You own it, you govern it, and you actually control it. You let us over in Carson City know what you want to see. And that's what we were doing at that strategic planning meeting. And what came out of that was, have we reviewed to know, do we have enough limits? Do we have enough limits where we're looking at on the liability, on the property? So why not throw this out there? While I was over in London, I threw it out. I said, we've always had 300 million. What would it look like if we went up to 500 million? Let's add 200 more million on top of this tower. I was able to put that together for $150,000 for the entire pool. That first 300 million though, of course, ended up costing us like 1.5 million, but at least we ended up getting an additional 200 million on top of that. The other thing that I was able to negotiate after we went to London, I was at the AGRIP meeting, which is the Association of Governmental Entities Pools. And at that meeting or conference, I usually end up having all my conversations with all my liability carriers. Well, I also had a conversation with your equipment breakdown carrier, your boiler and machinery carrier. We've had 100 million worth of coverage with them. And while we were at that meeting, I sat down and I just said, hey, can we just throw in an extra 50 million? And they were able to do that at no additional cost. So we increased from 100 million to 150 million on our equipment breakdown coverage at no additional cost to our members. For you to know that you actually, we spoke about 146 members within the pool, understand that there are 15 school districts within our pool. So the only 2 school districts we don't have are Washoe and Clark. And that's fine. We're good with that. We're happy to be able to service our rural communities and be able to do the best that we possibly can for them. About 11 years ago, and one of the things that we ended up doing for our schools was about 11, if you scroll up just a little bit further, there's, the other direction.
The other direction.
Right there, that little gray section on the very end there, which is the student accident policy. When I was with the other company I was with, I actually brought this up to Wayne and I said, hey, we're always selling these little student accident policies, but are we leaving any students behind? And this is something I believe you guys probably talked about in your strategic plan just a little bit ago, is are we leaving anyone behind? Are we forgetting about anyone? Well, one of the things that you have, any extracurricular activity, the students have to have a student accident policy or health insurance in place. This takes that completely off the table. Every child that is within our membership has student accident automatically. So there's no reason there is no student that cannot participate in any of these activities, these extracurricular activities. This also gives you the transportation. So transportation to and from school, that's also built into this as well. So, it just is that one benefit that you end up receiving. We did see a little bit, probably why you didn't see a little bit larger of an increase within your total program, or decrease in your total program, was because on the liability side, we did see, we actually have a separate tower for the school districts. And that keeps you out of that law enforcement realm. So, you're not being rated for that law enforcement, you're only being rated as schools. But we did have an increase in our reinsurance costs that came from the school tower that we ended up having. I tried to push back on that carrier as much as I can, but on the liability side, liability is completely different than property anymore. And liability, you know, we're still seeing across the country those SAM claims, which is the sexual harassment and molestation claims. And that definitely has driven pricing on school districts when we look at that portion. We did also make a major change in our cyber program. We actually lost our cyber carrier that we had in the past, which was fine, actually. It actually turned out better for all of our members. Our old cyber carrier, we had to have a sub-limit for the first party, which was a $250,000 sub-limit for first party, and then $1 million for third party. Underneath this new program, we actually have $1 million for both first and third party liability. So again, one big benefit back to you. And I show these towers, and the reason I show these towers is because if you look underneath that big giant, scroll back that way, no, the other direction, right there. No, right here. If you look at that big giant tall tower, you know, we have the NPIP at 200,000 and PRM at the 300,000 limit. So the first 500,000 of that layer, PRM is your captive insurance company. You own it, you control it. We only deploy capacity to you or to the pool for that area. So the first 500,000 of any property loss is basically your responsibility. I say yours, the pool's responsibility. All 146 members that are contributing into the pool. When I did the analysis on that, over a 10-year period, the pool paid out between the pool and the captive, and just that 500 limit, $28 million in losses. Now we look over at the liability side. We made a change on the liability side. It does not affect the school districts. The school districts, we left your SIR at the 500,000 just because of the losses that we end up having with school districts. But on the municipality side, we did analysis and figured we could bump that up to where the pool would take on more of that responsibility and bumped it up from a 500,000 to $1 million. Of course, not looking at this, but looking at the past experience where we had the 500,000 for both schools and for munis, it was amazing. I looked at the exact same analysis and we were within, you know, $100,000 difference than what was on the property side of what the pool took on responsibility wise. So again, taking that first 500,000, the pool paid out $28 million over a 10-year period of time. And that's your money. That's what you're a part of. So when we look at these cost allocations and these contributions that are being paid, understand that that's also going to pay losses for everyone within the pool. You know, you're in this as an owner. Look at it as a small mutual insurance company where we're not insurance. We are a risk management company. You know, it's your risk management and you have coverage there when risk management doesn't work. So I'll leave it at that. I do have Alan Colt that would like to.
You know, I dropped a hint, or more importantly, I dropped that coin. I apologize to interrupt his presentation. So we had a strategic planning retreat in November, you know, just like you guys just went over your goals and objectives and ethics. So out of that, we came up with our opportunity point. So the pool, the liability that where you guys are involved, we started in 1987. The workers' comp was founded and started April 1st of 96, so 30 years old. But if you look around the edge, there's words that reflect the values of the organization. And it also reflects the values that we think our members should have and the employees and that we as individuals should have. So it starts out with proactive, accountability, responsibility, strength, stability, safety, and service. Today, you guys recognize a lot of people who went above and beyond in service and recognizing that it takes a village to make the school district successful. And there's 7 different words, and we take one word a week and try to focus on that word and how that can impact us as our role as Board of Trustees, our role as staff, our role as community members, and even a family member within our own tribe. How can we be more proactive? How can we accept more responsibility, accountability, those type of things? It's your organization. That's your premiums. We do have claims. We do have a lot of risk management services to mitigate against those. And, every entity, it's not a matter of if, it's when you're gonna have a claim. That type of thing, contribute in the bucket. And the goal is hopefully that we don't have, a lot of entities all at the same time, generating claims. We appreciate your involvement, your owners. We do innovative programs. Your finance director just implemented some cash management things to help, enhance revenue for the school district, helping facilitate those type of things, financial leadership, risk management, HR support, cybersecurity, Jeff K with Safe Schools, coming in. I wrote the grant from the Pennington Foundation to pay for your open gates, okay, for school safety and security, those type of things. And that's the power of the pool. What you guys do well here, we transfer it over to Elko, to Boulder City, to all these other different entities. And vice versa. We see something that's good happening in Lyon County, we'll share it out with you folks. So it's an honor and privilege to work for Pool Pact as finance guy. So we pride ourselves in financial strength and rate stability. And the good news is through Steven's hard work, we were able to have lower rates because the market appreciates our risk management efforts.
And I just want to thank you. It's always good to come back to my community where I went through this school district through all my years. So it's good. I joked with everyone today. I was like, yeah, I'm the good example of a bad example. So I'm really happy to be here.
And I just want to finish with, on page 17, you can see the rate change reduction on the total annual amount. Right there, yeah. So while 0.5%, it doesn't appear to be a lot, it is still a reduction, number one. Number two, when you look at the exposure changes, the payroll went up by 2.3%, the property values went up 2.98%, the vehicle count 2.5%. So with all these increases in exposure, the premium still went down. So we were super happy to see that. Thank you, Stephen, for all your hard work on that negotiations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. So that's all I have.
Any questions?
No, just thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Always appreciate the student accident coverage.
Yeah.
I think that the more barriers we can eliminate, the better, so I really do like that,
Yes.
that one. Thank you.
We were actually just talking about that today, trying to figure out if we can use that for our concussion kids in athletics and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that was a question I was gonna follow
Yeah,
with Marshall on, and
There will still need to be some sort of a baseline test that'll have to be done, which Gerber does not do. I had worked with another company in my old life as an agent that actually did that pre-concussion testing. But that company kind of fell apart. So Gerber, what they do is they do look at that. If it is a sponsored activity event and it is a supervised event, then the Gerber policy will go into effect. Now, mind you, one of the things with that is it showed that deductible there. That is the parent's responsibility. This program actually costs the school district absolutely nothing. It is built into of course, the program cost, but for any of those deductibles or anything, that doesn't come back to the school district. Those are all the parent's responsibility.
Sure.
Gerber also negotiates pricing with any kind of medical facility. So we have actually had where it's gone above that 25,000, the total accident, but Gerber's been able to negotiate it down and be able to help the parents out when it has gone up and over. So just to give you a little bit more input on that. Okay.
that was actually a question I was gonna propose to Colby, so.
So we encourage the athletic director and the trainer to be familiar with the policy so that, if one of the athletes gets hurt, that's a more common type thing, right?
And
This
I,
could possibly work.
yeah,
for
I
you.
don't know if you do this, but it was quite interesting. I jumped on, the Elko County School District's, actually it was, I think it was underneath Wells actually, and it showed, it had an actual spot in there that had the claims form on their website. So that way the students, or the parents could go directly to that
Yeah, we're trying,
that link and be able
Really
to
are.
just have that claim form there. And that claim form describes everything that they have to do.
Yeah.
So this actually, once it leaves your hands, you should never be touching it again. And partly because of HIPAA, right? You shouldn't be looking at it again. So this should be their responsibility to be able to follow all those things that go on. And as you know, the medical is always complicated, and it sometimes takes several times to be able to get all the information that a carrier is going to need to be able to pay. So, and it can get frustrating, and I understand.
well, we're just trying to create more of a resource hub for administration and be able to push that out so that we can get really better service to our kids.
Yeah, and I will be sending out to your agent, I will be sending out some just slicks that are just a one pager. I've always promoted this that way, so that way you can put it in the welcome packets. That way they have just kind of a quick understanding of what that Gerber policy looks like, along with the claim form that you can put in that welcome packet as well. Each one of your schools, the way I send it out is in a Word document, so they can actually just paste it over to their letterhead, so each school could have it on their letterhead even. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Are there any further questions or comments?
Thank you.
Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. We need to accept the renewal
Yeah,
proposal.
I'll make a motion that we, would you like to do it?
Go ahead, you're
I'll make a motion that we accept the liability insurance renewal proposal from Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool and approve for payment for fiscal year 25-26 funds.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Better be good cookies, Mary.
Yes, they are.
Okay, moving on to item 3, discussion and possible action to approve the Orvada K-8 school construction agreement with the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada and Lithium America for possible action.
All right, well, it's kind of the moment we've all been waiting for a while. So if you notice down here online, we have Eaton Dunkelberger, who is with the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada, and then Rob's online also as we begin to talk about this. So please, they're willing to jump in at any moment, or if you guys have questions, please feel free to stop me. But I thought I'd start with Sabrina by just giving us a brief, recap / introduction of where we come from and how we got to this point, and then I'll roll through the contract as it sits.
Okay, so as you heard Sue mention in public comment, when lithium first came out, Orvada to very first explore the site, one of the very first things they identified was the safety hazard for the school because of the school location being right on the corner of 95 and Kings River Highway, which is where we are seeing an increased amount of traffic. So Lithium America's approached both the community and the school district about building a new school. And so that was about 5 years ago. And we have had some bumps and bruises along the way. The initial promises were very vast and very lavish. I don't think any of us really understood, both on the Lithium America's side and the community and district side, really understood exactly what we were getting into or approaching, or all the ins and outs we were going to face. We had some lags and stuff along the way, sometimes where we hit delays both on Lithium side, on our side. But finally, last year, Lithium America's brought on the Community Foundation, which has been a very forward-moving help. We were able to, on this board a few months ago, approve a 60% design And that enabled us to then start contract negotiations. After several meetings between the district, the community, and Lithium, we finally have come with this agreement. Again, as Sue mentioned, it is not initially what I don't think any of us expected, but it provides the kids a safe school and provides everything that they need. And so with that, I will let Colby go through the contract.
Great, thank you. And again, I just really want to point out Eaton, who's on this call, and his team. I don't know that we would have honestly got there without him and that group. So it was a really smart decision by Lithium Americas to turn the project over to them, and their communication has been exceptional. The teamwork we've exhibited with Eaton and his group has been exceptional, and I think it really moved the project forward. And so again, please, even if you see anything I missed, please chime in, but or please feel free to ask any questions as we go.
Yeah, and to say, I will say though, that even though Lithium recognized handing off this project, they partly handed it off knowing that part of our lives were the fact that they have their hands in so many different parts of their project right now. They're trying to get construction going, plus the school, and they recognized that they were not going to be able to give the school significant time and attention. And so that is part of where they brought the Community Foundation in, because that is what the Community Foundation does. These are projects they do all the time. But Tim Crowley and Maria Anderson have still stayed very, very involved with this project. So while Eaton and his team have been definitely heading it and helping us really get this moved along quickly, please do not think that Tim or Maria have dropped the ball. They have still really stayed involved. And so I just want to give credit to them for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right, so I'll start and we'll kind of go through some of the recitals. I highlighted the pieces that I felt were the ones that I hope everybody had the chance to read through this, as it's been posted for a while, but I'll review the things that I felt were most important. So this is a financial gift. All the money has been deposited into a money market fund. So Lithium America has already made that generous donation to the Community Foundation. They have it. It's sitting in that fund collecting interest as we speak and as we begin the construction, probably as soon as tomorrow, honestly. So
And the fund is with the foundation, not with the district.
Yeah, correct. The fund is with the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada. This was made with a desire to open a school, to create a school. Please note in here that all the things that are included in the drawings that you saw attached to this, so the construction, the furnishing, the equipment, and this will be important as I go through this, comes to us as a gift from Lithium America. The intent from everybody involved is to open and operate the school for the 27-28 school year. And that was really the rush to get it on tonight's agenda so that we can get cracking. But they might already be moving dirt work as we speak, or soon after. All this construction will be in accordance with the plans and specifications that were provided in Exhibit B, which was attached to this contract. So this is one thing that's key here. So after tonight, after you guys approve and execute this agreement with Lithium America, I will then be the sole representative of the district moving forward, and we'll be that person that approves not contracts, but approves, I guess, some like water contracts, and work orders, things like that. After tonight, the hope would be that this board will adopt a resolution that approves this agreement and everything that I've listed here too, and then hereafter. And I'll pause real quick. Are there any questions? I mean, this is pretty lengthy, so I want to give everybody time to think.
That timeline's pretty
Aggressive.
quick. Yeah, very aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe Ethan, I don't know if you can speak to it, but the timeline and the aggressiveness behind it. And we've done some initial things, like we've approved the well, done a few of those, but some of those paperwork pieces that needed to be in place to get the work started, Lori. So, with the intent of understanding that we had this contract and we were working on just solidifying the language and fine tuning the language. So we have begun a couple things. Construction hasn't started, but some of the bidding and things have already taken place.
The big push to get it in sooner rather than later is we have seen significant traffic increase right there next to the school. The semis we are constantly having to call about the semis speeding through there.
I go about the Kings River for graduation.
It's
It's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the impact till we went to McDermott the other night. So
Yeah.
the traffic impact is
Well,
crazy.
then you get on that narrow road from Orvada, to the mine at night.
All right, so looking through definitions now, I just highlighted site walkthrough. I mean, we all know what that means, but it'll be important when I talk further down the contract about who will be conducting those site walkthroughs. So plans, project, and school were something I highlighted, and Trustee Mosier asked a great question a couple weeks ago, and in talking about whether what was in the kitchen was going to be included in this, and so I think that's why I wanted to highlight this. But they're building what is in the plans that we're before you all week. So if you look at those plans, you can see there's an oven, there's a dishwasher, all those things. So while it's not specifically spelled out that they're going to put an oven in the school, because it's in the plans, it will be included in the project. So that's why I felt it was important to highlight those three areas here. Agreement to construct. So LLC, Community Foundation of Northern Nevada, is the sole cost and expense to design, develop, and cause of construction, furnish, and equip all lies within the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada at this point. So should not be any additional expense to the district, and that's continued to be spelled out further down the contract. Again, number C, no cost to the district. So the district shall have no obligation to pay any amount whatsoever in connection with this design, development, construction, furnishing, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, property, right of entry. As of right now, the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada and their contractors, they have license. This allows them license to enter and a revocable license to enter the property and begin construction. CFNN must comply with all laws and shall cause the contractor to use and comply with all laws as they're out there on the project site. And Community Foundation of Northern Nevada shall be responsible for securing the project site. And that would be the safety involved in all that and following there. Project plans. The Community Foundation should be, will cause the school to be constructed substantially in accordance with the plans that were included below, all those in Exhibit B. And they will have to ensure that that standard of construction is up to code, up to expectation. So, and done in a workmanlike manner. Conduct of construction. They're solely responsible for all means, methods, techniques, etc. The oversight will fall to them as when we begin the construction process. And it's not really, what is it, 3M? What are the name of the companies that are working on this? Sorry, I had it written. Okay. Delivery, once the school is turned over to us, it'll be delivered free of material defects and workmanship, and it'll be suitable for occupancy the minute the keys are handed to us.
Basically, it has to be approved by the county, doesn't it? Inspectors, and it has to be inspected by all that. So I mean.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Additional equipment, this is listed in Exhibit C, which we will get down to in a moment, but this was really kind of the hang up going into all this and what's kept this going for so long. But it's just stating that the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada agrees to obtain and deliver to the district additional equipment, furnishing, and improvements that we'll talk about in Exhibit C moving down here in a moment. So I'll pause again and ask any questions, or allow you guys to ask any questions of Eaton and Rob if you have any. Okay, good so far? Okay. All right, project schedule. just that the CFNN will, within a reasonable time, after selecting the contractor, will provide us with a schedule and set forth all the major milestones. So I believe that's what Eaton was just referring to. Once they sign those contracts tonight, it'll be on our hands and I can report those out to the board as soon as the next board meeting. So probably, sounds like so. They'll keep us reasonably informed of any material schedule developments. And I think this one's a bit key, especially in the world we live in right now, on the inability to procure items at some point. They will definitely make us well aware and in a timely manner if there's anything that's likely to delay achievement or the intended opening for the 2027-2028 school year. So key language in that I picked out today. All right, district cooperation. It's just stating that I will cooperate with Community Foundations of Northern Nevada with utility coordination, agency meetings, inspections, et cetera. I've done a lot of that already, like I said, signing some permit work and meeting with Eaton and the group whenever needs be. All costs and expenses will go through Community Foundation of Northern Nevada again. Contractor selection, so signing this agreement that notes it's Community Foundation of Northern Nevada shall have sole and complete discretion to select the general contractor and all subcontractors for this project. We will have no approval rights with respect to LLC's selection of the contractor or the subcontractor for this project. Again, we talked about this a little earlier, but I'll be the sole district decision maker moving forward after this, once you guys approve the resolution, or if you choose to approve the resolution tonight. That doesn't mean I can't come back and provide you guys with input, send texts, emails, give it in my weekly board update, but I'll be the one going out and making decisions.
That's better because it's a sole focus.
Single point of contact.
Yeah. And John will be involved in the project.
And you'll see that further in the contract.
Yep. All right, minor field changes. So this contract allows the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada to make minor field changes without obtaining district consent. And then down here, they kind of outline what those would be. They do not impose any costs. They do not require us to assume liability. It doesn't materially affect the build of the school, student capacity, safety codes, compliance, et cetera. And it does not affect the use of the district's property. So they would have that ability to make minor changes. And honestly, I don't know if I'd want to get change ordered to death on a project this big. So community foundation being able to support us is great. All right, site inspections. So myself or John Burhans have the right to inspect the project site at any time during the performance of the project. They just require 72 hours advance notice. And we would have someone with the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada out there at any time. And so I think that just allows John access to the build and any questions that he might have and working as a partnership there. And so again, I'll pause. Are there any questions around some of those last few things we discussed? Okay. Costs, again, no district payment obligation. So Community Foundation shall pay the contractor when due, and they assume all costs in this. Big key here, because we've all spent a whole year talking about change orders, but we will have no responsibility for any construction cost overruns, change order costs, permit fees, impact fees, consultation fees, et cetera, through the life of this project. So a big thing, especially knowing what construction is doing nowadays. Community Foundation of Northern Nevada will cause the project to be performed in compliance with all applicable laws. We hope, we know when, we know they will. They assume all risk and insurance during the time. When they hand us over the keys, that's when it becomes our liability at that point. So August 1st of 2027. They assume all risk and loss during the construction of the school. And then again, as we get to the point where they begin to turn this over, deliver it to us, and we accept the gift, they provide us with evidence of the final inspections. Again, the stuff you talked about that the county's approved throughout the process. They provide us with that certificate of occupancy. They provide us with all warranties and guarantees for any materials and construction pieces in the building. They provide us with drawings. We won't lose those 100 years from now. And then they'll provide us with all maintenance manuals for all the major building systems. And they've been, I can tell you, and Lithium has been too, they've been great already at working with Mike, working with Joe to find out what we want in the building. So it should be all aligned with the materials that we're currently using and the systems we're currently using.
Are
So
they involved in the process?
They are.
Mike and Joe?
They are, yeah. I know Joe and I had a long call. It's been several months actually. And they were really, it was really when the engineer was working on the plans is where they called and said, hey, what type of wiring do you want in the system?
Yeah.
What type of cameras do you plan on using? They were asking Joe everything, or Mike, everything down to like what type of doorknobs and things like that we usually use. So,
You know, and this might sound ridiculous, but when you buy a new car, they tell you all about it, all
oh yeah.
the systems and how everything works, and you leave going, I can't remember one thing. That's why I'm wondering if they're gonna be involved in the whole process rather than just turning it over and say, figure it out.
Matter of fact, Joe even said, I just want the wires pulled to the classrooms. I'm gonna hook up all the equipment I
Oh,
want to
okay.
hook up.
Yeah,
So,
that's
I mean,
great.
Joe said,
Okay.
get it there, I'll take care of everything else. So,
Yeah.
you know, and they were very gracious in that. Yeah,
That's
they've been
great.
involved from the start.
Okay.
Yeah, the communication's been exceptional from Eaton and his team, like I mentioned, as far as this build out so far. Again, I just wanted to point out again that all the warranties will be transferred to us, which is important. And we know, because there'll be things wrong once we get the keys for sure. And then, again, we do have that ability to terminate the contract, as well as Community Foundation of Northern Nevada does have that ability to terminate. Generally, this falls under if they abandon the project, then materially breach the agreement, or if they fail to commence and pursue the project. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. Now, to scroll all the way down, you guys had opportunity to look at all the plans, but I'll just scroll down to those attachments I spoke of earlier. I'm gonna have to move your face real quick. All right, so this was Exhibit C that I addressed. This is the explanation of all the furnishings and improvement that will be in the school. So Lithium, as well as the Community Foundation, have agreed to supply all desks and necessary equipment for the school to function in its intended use. This includes whiteboards, class tables, shelving, lunchroom tables, etc. So letter A addresses all those things that make a school a school. Letter B, they've agreed to work with the landscaping of the area. This includes planting native plants, shade trees, and rocks that still keep the views and the qualities of the rural life out there, I suppose, without keeping everything in place. And then finally, on C, they've agreed to make sure that they include outdoor picnic tables, a playground, and then a half-court outside basketball court for the students to use.
All the courts to be outside.
There's a court inside.
There's a court in the gym
There's a
too,
court
but in the
inside.
existing
They're gonna, this is in
school-
addition to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
existing
playground,
schools
Playground
have
basketball
Okay.
court.
basketball.
So all the things that the community have been requesting throughout this process, the one thing they're not gonna do is the paving, but they're gonna use like a road grade base gravel, right? Is that the understanding?
And there will
Parking
be,
lot?
like, there's gonna be sidewalks, where like the buses and stuff, there's gonna be certain stuff, but like as Ron even pointed out during one of our meetings, with having freshly packed a lot of that ground, if we did pave right now, we would just,
Yeah, the
it
road
would
base
just
would go
immediately
anyway.
crack. So it'll be a good solid
For a
road base,
while.
which I will tell you up until a few years
It's
ago.
gonna settle for
Yeah,
a long
and
time.
until a few years ago, the paved parking lot we had at the existing school didn't exist. We just had that packed road
Like
base.
diatomaceous earth or something like that, is that what they're putting out?
That road, I think they.
No, it's
Yeah.
just road base, yeah.
Road base.
Yeah, it's just base, it's
Yep.
gravel.
Diatomaceous earth, what am I
Yeah,
thinking? of?
it's
Yeah,
it's
kind
gnarly.
of the stuff they put in.
It's
the
gnarly
papers,
stuff when
like
you pack it down.
Yeah.
We got road base in my lot over by Wells Fargo, if you ever want to take a look at what it is, it's good stuff.
It is good stuff, yeah.
It's
And
no
you-
fun to walk barefoot on.
And again, here, just look at the plans, and you guys have seen the 60%ers, but you can see there will be sidewalks and access for kids, and there's some more sidewalks and access down by the gym
You
here.
did see the grass in there too, didn't it?
So there will be some, just not the parking lot won't have that right
No,
now.
grass.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that would be the extent of this agreement. The only other thing we have in here, this is just the resolution to approve that you guys will be asked to do tonight. But I turn the time over to you. Again, you have Eaton and you have Rob here, and I'd love for you guys to ask them questions or.
I've got one question,
Yeah.
just kind of what you mentioned, talking about the bringing wires in for to hook up tech and all that kind of stuff. Is that stuff, I'm assuming is going to be in the day we get the keys, so that we know those wires work?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding
I mean,
was,
it's like, you could be running fiber optic, you could be running ethernet, any of that kind of stuff. I deal with this at the hospital, it's kind of what I do, and we'll get these portables that come in, it's all supposed to work, none of it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to break, the stuff's fragile.
Yeah.
So I'd be a little concerned about getting that stuff and then us having to send someone in to rerun wire and I'm not saying that they'll do a bad job, but you can break that anywhere along the chain.
I would, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, but I'm gonna assume Joe's gonna have that opportunity to go in and hook things up prior to okay. How long maybe this is a really broad question, Ian, but how long do a lot of those warranties run? No worries, thanks, Ian.
Are there any questions or
Yeah,
comments?
I've got one, and it's simple. Is there a way that we can project some costs to run it once we get the keys to it to Mike so he can plan for our budget for that year? I mean, our insurance costs, our electricity, because that one's going to be on the well, plus everything else. It's going to be a lot different than our old Orvada school.
Yeah, it will.
Maybe it'll be more cost efficient, utility wise, maybe less, I don't know. But if we can just get some projections out there for Mike to work with now so that he can prepare for our budget for that year,
Perfect.
that would be really
Great, yeah, thank you. I made note of that, thank you.
Were there any other questions or comments? Ron?
Will we be filling the bus there as well? Will we be moving the diesel tank over, or is that mechanism going to change?
The original conversation was that we'll still fill the bus there. We'll move the diesel tanks over to the school and we'll operate as it is now.
And we feel that. Did we?
The diesel tanks?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
pilot or one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remember talking about it in denial, remember?
Yes,
We had
but
a
yeah,
big deal.
so that's part of, there's like a big space on the plans. There's that big space where there's specific bus parking. And so the original conversation was that the diesel tank would be over there.
My only question on that was, because that's a spot they'll be driving to almost every day, is that little spot, I didn't see it on there, or maybe I missed it, is that spot concreted where they're driving every day so that they don't sink?
Yeah, so it was supposed to be like,
Jump out past the
that's one of the sides that does have
pave.
more of that paving and stuff.
Okay.
And then the handicap area.
For the landscaping part, is that the proper field also? Like place to play?
Yeah, so that's the grass that they talk about, that's their like grass for the play area, like what they have now.
And then I guess just the follow-up to that, is there any flexibility to consider turf and not irrigate? Is
That
that,
was my question,
is
yeah.
that an Orvada like hanger on or two? I'm just thinking like long-term maintenance, that could be might be a wash by the time you put in irrigation and everything else.
Yeah, it was, and Sue, maybe you remember, I remember it being a conversation because we were offered turf at one point and the community was pretty firm against that.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, that turf pays for itself in about 5 years. Because of maintenance, water, everything else, fertilizers, the whole thing. Yeah. And then you get different size pads under your turf, like professionals use a 1/4-inch pad under their turf because they want speed. We can put a 1/2-inch pad under ours or whatever it is. No, they use an 1/8 inch. We put 1/2 inch for injuries because we care more about injuries than speed. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different things we can.
Yeah.
Well, if we consider that, I'd actually really like to consider determine if it's a good spot for turf with blow sand.
I can't hear you, Lonnie.
With blow sand, because blow sand will sink into grass and
Yeah.
it'll take it, whereas turf, it just piles up on top and buries it.
Yeah,
That
turf,
was-
you use rubber.
And so that was the community's concern.
That's what I mean,
with-
the blow sand sits on top of it. Out there, a little bit different. I mean, probably if anyone knows anyone in Battle Mountain, their turf field's probably a good ask on how they mitigate that. But if we did do turf out there, the wind and the sand's gonna be a lot different than if we're in town or something like that.
Yes, and it is surrounded by a lot of sand.
They had an issue like that, I believe originally, on the turf field they did on Lovelock.
They don't like it.
Yeah, it was a major issue cleaning the sand up just from the blow sand from where it was. So they built, they built windbreaks around.
Under all those, though, there's a leach system under all those fields.
There
So
is for
when the
water.
rain and everything comes, it can wash that sand down through the field. Because
Yeah.
you've got it, you're gonna have it's about a 1.5% grade on every field that they put in. Cause you
No,
got.
I get you, but I know it's been an issue. I mean, the sand specifically, like the alkali and the bug dust that we get here, it's just a little bit, I just remember that being an issue, out Lovelock. I remember Battle Mountain, some folks talking to me about that one time, where they had to do some real different weird mitigation things to keep the
And
sand
so-
levels off of it, because it wouldn't keep up.
The
Because
big,
we don't get any
big
rain.
things about the turf out there, one, with the sand, it's not necessarily a good option. The community really pushed for real grass at the very beginning of these meetings.
Yeah, and it's their school, so.
And then the other thing is we are pretty that's where our negotiations kind of came down to the wire really, because with what they are providing, we are very much maxed out. I don't know that turf would be a feasible ask at this point because we've already kind of maxed out that budget.
Yeah, because
That's why we're not getting paid.
assume the maintenance costs afterwards. And they don't assume that, so that makes sense too.
Oh, Ron's got a lawnmower, we'll just send him.
Oh.
Yeah,
Just right down the road, drive by it every day.
You know, cause in the summer, I mean, that's.
It's like
And I will
project-based
tell you-
learning for
He
us.
loves cutting grass.
But I will tell you, on that note, some of our costs as far as watering our lawn is actually going to drastically decrease because currently we are on the Orvada GID water system at our current school. So we pay a water bill.
The city water kind.
Yes, we pay we pay a city water bill at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we will be moving to a well.
Oh.
So the only cost on our water is going to be the electricity to run the well, but we will no longer have a water bill. And so that will be the difference in the cost as far as when we think about the
And
cost to
that goes
operate.
with Ron's question, you know, now we got electricity on the well too, so that's.
Yeah. But you'd be amazed, it's minimal. Especially for that, I mean, you're not running a big pivot. So,
Right.
but, because currently. we
Especially if
pay-
they're running on the grass.
Oh,
Yeah, because right now we pay water and sewer, and that we won't pay water and sewer once the school relocates.
So septic.
Yeah, we will have septic and a well. Because we're outside, the new school will be outside the GID water system.
And we've got 10 acre feet of water to work with, so.
That was my next
What was
question.
that?
We've got 10 acre
acre
feet
feet.
of water at the site, so I mean, we could set it up to we could put in some valves to flood irrigate if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
We have lots of water to play with the water rights that Lithium
Oh,
America's
okay,
transferred.
And at this
Water's
point,
huge in Nevada.
Yes.
they want it done by 27, 28.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
If we delay this contract any further, we will probably miss the opening.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments?
No, I know that took a while, but I was more curious than anything.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Orvada K-8 school construction agreement with Community Foundation of Northern Nevada and Lithium America.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. This has been a long
Big project.
project.
Oh, yeah,
Rob?
go ahead, Rob.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve Exhibit D, giving Colby the sole permission to be the point of contact moving forward with this project.
I'll second it.
Lori?
okay. It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously for Exhibit D.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rob.
Rob. Is there anything further you need us to do on this one? Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to item 4.
Thanks, Eden.
Thank you, ladies, for
Bye,
coming.
Thank you, ladies, be careful. Go home.
Bye, Ethan. Okay, moving on to item 4, discussion and possible adoption of a resolution to support the 2026 Invest document outlining NAS priorities heading into the 26-27 legislative session for possible action.
All right, it's been a long meeting. I'll try to make this quick. We talked a little bit about this and the priorities haven't changed. But again, what NAS is asking is that all school boards in the state of Nevada adopt a resolution supporting us as we go into this next legislative session. And we really have outlined 4 priorities that we are going to focus on. Number 1 seems to be the one that's at the forefront of all of our minds all the time right now, and that's the funding in the state of Nevada. What we believe as a group is that they're not just going to come out and increase funding, right? I mean, it's pretty much out there. We've even heard a lot of talk of decreasing funding. That was in, I think, the Nevada Independent. If you go back, the Nevada Independent ran some great articles on where all the candidates for governor stood, but several of them are calling for that because we're decreasing our student enrollment. So rather than go through and attack and just keep saying, give us more money, really what we as a team did was go through the people-centered funding plan and try to find ways that potentially they could supplement the funding that they're given to us. So that's where all this lies. When we talk about protecting schools from sudden drastic budget cuts, that all lives in that loss of student enrollment, right? Right now, what it says is that if you lose 5% of your student enrollment in any given year, you're held harmless, and they actually will not decrease your funding. What we're going for as a NAS team is to reduce that or set that limit at 2%. How that, a great example of that is looking at our student enrollment this year, we lost like 3.5% of our kids. So essentially we would have been able to pause and not be held harmless and not lose that funding that we lost this year. So NASA's just asking that we set a more reasonable amount. We didn't want to do 0 because then potentially that could ruin the pot for everybody. But 5, even the districts that have lost the most kids this year, Elko County, for example, never got to 5%. So it was a limit that was set, I'm sure, with the intent of understanding that most people wouldn't meet it. So going down to those 2. Again, defining count days, and what we would ask for is that enrollment that they grab at the beginning of the year stays the enrollment that we base all our funding at all year long. Because right now we're doing it quarterly. And it's a moving target. That's why when Mike comes in, he never knows the budget to present to you guys because you don't know what your enrollment's going to be from one month to the next, So we're asking that they stick with 1 count day and roll with that number for us all year long. Just makes it a lot easier. And then support sustainable funding for all districts. What lives in this sub-column is really one of the things, and you guys have seen it the last several budgets, we transfer a lot of money out of our special education accounts or from our general fund to support special education. And so rather than say, hey, give us more money, what we're asking is that they actually adequately support our special education funding and provide us with increases there that support the needs that we all have when we're supporting the youth in our district that are the most vulnerable. One of the other ones there that we're talking about is in the weighted funding. Let's say you're a kid that's special needs and then you're a kid that's EL. We only get funding for 1 subcategory of that. So, but you still have to attack both deficits in a student. You have
Still a double cost.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're just asking if you have a kid that qualifies in multiple categories, you fund us in multiple categories. So again, rather than not doing these big, like, hey, just give us a 5% increase, we're trying to attack some of these little areas and the funding questions that go from there. So I'll pause real quick. Do we have any questions around number one?
Did you have a hard copy of this?
I can print one up for you. Yeah, I can get you a print up for you. Yeah. And I have some talking points that I can share with you guys too. So if you're out with your constituencies or people are asking you questions, you can look at some
I
more.
think that'd be great. 'Cause I was gonna ask, I mean, I think it's a way better approach rather than asking for a block funding to be specifically telling them what we're spending it on.
Yeah.
Whether it be special programs, and that was gonna be my next question anyways. What are we, instead of looking for this 5% increase or this specific number per pupil, you know, what are we doing through NAS to get money for programs that we can show measurable productivity? So whether it's test scores or mental health or any of the kind of stuff, all the stuff that we are doing, you know, the STEM programs, all that kind of stuff. If there's ways to attack funding from that aspect, saying, look, we're getting these increases, and we can do even better if we can fund it at this level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and that makes it more achievable. When you have a broad spectrum of things with 18 things to pick from, there's a chance you'll get 4 out of 18. But if you just throw one block 5% and you say, no, now you've lost all chances in one shot. So
Or
yeah,
thanks for the money, we're gonna have to go hire 47 more
yeah,
employees that
no,
we
this
don't use.
this is
You know,
way better
It
diversified.
gives them a metric that we can measure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't worked the last few legislative sessions
No.
there, you know, obviously, so.
Yeah, and I like this too, that's why I want a hard copy, because the last meeting I went to, the legislators were there. And they talked about what they were interested in. Does that make sense? Not what we were interested in.
Right.
Always.
You know, and I understand,
Always.
our legislators don't get it.
Mhm.
You know, they're over here somewhere in their thinking, because they're not in the middle of it.
Mhm.
And this kind of explains, these are the things that we really need to happen here.
Yeah, and the talking points that I can provide you, it goes much more in depth on each of these, and again, allows you to learn a little bit about it and then be able to talk to people and talk to your constituencies. So I'd be happy to share those out. Number 2, so this all lives on, anybody who's, I don't know if you guys have spent any time in SB 460, but if you have, it's scary. I think it's a couple hundred pages long. Essentially, it calls for state control over local control, if I were gonna boil it down into one phrase, right? And if we are not doing the job that the state believes we should do, or the legislatures, all of us, they could come in and remove all of us at any point. So we're working, our stance would be, we wanna include language in there that sees them as a technical assistance partner rather than, that draconian person coming in at top and going, yeah, we're removing all of
An
you.
overlord.
Yeah, the overlord, right? Come in, provide us with support, we'll do what we tell you, but it doesn't mean removing 7 board members and a superintendent, right? So,
Give us some autonomy.
Yeah.
And that's what they've taken away from us,
yeah.
is our autonomy.
100%.
Yeah.
Bullet point number 2, streamline and consolidate reporting. I made brief mention of this before, but I think our count is up to about 445 reports, I believe, that we're accountable for every year, and most of them say the exact same thing over and over again. So we're asking that they consolidate some of those reporting requirements for us. Modernizing assessment schedules. So this becomes increasingly important, especially if none of these draconian measures leave, because essentially, we take these tests in June, I guess in March, we take these tests, the results come out the following year. By that point, you might have a new principal, or you might have a whole new teaching staff, and they're the ones that could essentially live under these punishments that the state seeks to dole out. So changing it so that our assessment schedules match up, and then they're applied at the time to the students and staff that are in those schools.
That's the thing, like immediate application.
Yeah.
You're talking a year or month.
Or you're talking, and it's gonna be a little different in K6, but with the way we had our schools broken up, you're talking at French Quarter or junior high, but you give that kid a year, you get their results and they're gone.
Well, nobody who has a
Essentially,
student knows that deficiency can change too, depending on what they're learning or what teacher they have or.
Yeah.
Change at home.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Our
Yeah,
HCSS program, which that's functioning well, it changes.
the SB 460 is wild if you really read through it. I mean, some of the things, I don't know that we even went far enough, because some of the restrictions they're putting on our teachers and even our administrators as far as the PD we have to do next year are just incredible. I think we have to go through 30, 40 hours of PD on principal evaluations next year. Just
That's why I said they don't get it.
No.
They don't have children are not their first priority here.
Yeah.
Well, they're just piling on something to do every year extra. Once it piles on and they never take anything off.
Absolutely.
Make it a little less expensive for us to work, and maybe we won't be asking for 5% every year.
Yeah.
And then Lonnie, I'll bet you $1 million, they never look at the stuff.
I think guarantee
After
that.
all was filled out and sent in, it's never even looked at.
The reporting something out
Guaranteed.
of SB 460, I was looking, and that's absolutely insane.
Oh.
And it's something, I'm the guy who builds those at my work, and it's very hard to get me to build you a report because I know you don't read them.
Mhm.
And so you have to show me, and if it's a 600-page report, which most of these are, if it's 600 pages, 98% of the people that are receiving those reports, it sits on their desk and collects dust. It never gets open. And I mean, I've seen it, and that's what we're dealing with here exponentially.
It's busy work.
It's 100%, yeah. And then the last one, require science of reading. So this would be like the letter stuff we did with all our teachers a few years ago. Lisa Carlson brought it in, but just that early foundational reading skills that we have all but like I think 10 of our teachers trained in that, which is cool. But what we're asking is that they also use our teacher prep programs through NSHE, which is like UNR, UNLV, GBC, and they actually train prospective teachers in that coming in.
Mhm.
Because it's now a law that every teacher has to be trained in the foundations of reading. So our core 10 teachers who haven't gone through this now are going to get pulled out of a classroom all year long next year to get this training. And it's great. I shouldn't say that because it's absolutely unbelievable. Best training I've ever been through in my life. But
the timing.
But the timing is just tough. And if they could prepare them that way in college, they'd be ready to go rolling into our
And
classroom.
basically that is a college function right there. To
Absolutely.
prepare a teacher to teach.
Yeah.
Time to evolve.
Don't make the district have to step in and do all that stuff.
So just asking that we're supported by that through NSHE. Moving on, next year is the year where we're supposed to start retaining any third grader who doesn't meet the reading qualifications. Actually, you guys as a board get to make that determination, which is crazy. So, but we're just asking that, number one, repeal that and get that law off the books. But then provide, even if not, and we still move forward, provide more local control to overrule just that one measure of a kid. So perhaps the kid puts together a portfolio, or we use other assessment means other than just the iReady scores that we use to merit that, to demonstrate that kid's ready to move on to third grade.
Because that affects our rating too, right?
But it's not just that, it affects the kid. And I look at,
Yeah.
sometimes it's the teacher, because I'm not gonna lie, I had a kid that ended up on read by grade 3. He moved to a different teacher, miraculously, his scores held. He was off read by grade 3 and his score shot through the roof. Like, there's so many other things that could affect their scoring on read by grade 3.
We were talking about that earlier, like, to me, I 100% understand why we have testing, I understand why we measure testing, but not everybody's a great test taker. You've got to have other parameters to determine how these kids are doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that would be our ask, right? So a kid doesn't get their 40th percentile or whatever random number we decide, but maybe you pull together all their work that they've done in class that year to build a portfolio and say, no, this kid really can read and gets to go to 4th grade. So yeah, just that more
Like,
comprehensive look at this.
look, they have a B in reading on their report card and all their grade, like all their work covers that, but their test score wasn't good.
But the other side of the coin too on that, the retention part, is we've got children, because I'm on French Ford truancy court, whatever it's called, and they never come to school, but we keep just sending them on to the next grade, where some of these children need to be retained and held back.
But it should be a local control.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know, the principals, vice principals, counselors, they know but we're not holding anybody back right now.
Some, but yeah, I'm not, that's all. And there's definitely just other things that have to go in that decision also, but yeah, I don't.
This one is like, we decided, not the
Yeah.
state tells us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one really to highlight in here is just taken all the resources and the money they're dumping into this, so let's retain kids that can't read and actually put it in literacy interventions at work, you know, giving us the funds and the means to rehire instructional coaches. High dose tutoring is one of the most research-based ways to improve a kid's learning that is out there right now, you know, give us some funding to do that and provide it for kids. So just, again, redirecting some of those funds out there. And then finally, number 4, is just providing universal pre-K for everybody, stabilizing the funding. You know, you've heard from Mrs. Owens a few weeks ago. Right now, it's all grant-based, and we're kind of, the amount fluctuates from year to year. We never know what we're gonna get. We generally have an idea, but just provide it. Again, I think a lot of this goes back to provide us knowns instead of unknowns. We live in such a world of unknown in education.
Don't make us
especially when
guess.
don't make us guess. Let us know what's coming. And you know, not have to do a grant for every year for this pre-K, like make it something sustainable. And then finally, just that increase in licensure pathways. We've seen the success we've had here with the district, getting classroom teachers in there. Be open to apprenticeships and other things that gets more people into that pre-K world and into those early education licenses. So those are our 4 big categories that we're gonna hit them over the head with here beginning in January. So again, I know you guys have been asking questions throughout, but is there anything I can answer or anything I can provide you clarification on? If not, I'd ask that we approve that resolution.
No, I like it because, I mean, yes, I think we all would still like optimal funding like you've asked for the last few years, but that approach has not worked.
Yeah.
So why keep doing what's not working? Let's try something new. And I think asking for some very, very specific things is going to help us a lot, because like a lot of times talking to some of the legislators, they'd be like, well, this district uses the money for this and this district uses the money for this. And like, it's so far across the board. And granted, yes, we all have different needs, but I think they start to wonder if we're really managing the funds well.
Yeah.
And so at least this is asking very specific things that can all be backed by data.
Yeah.
So I really like this.
Well, because our mechanism has to change. Our funding mechanism's been the same for forever, and they haven't changed it. And this is a way of pushing that envelope to help us get what we need, because especially with the one that's currently in place, no one's coming to save us by giving us even 5% a year. We'll still never catch up.
Yeah.
Well,
I like this.
These individual things, it gives them also a chance to say, I'm in control of this money that I'm asking for from the public. They can say where it's being spent. It's being spent on literacy, stuff. It's being spent on this. It's being spent on that. I mean, that it gives them specifics, not that, hey, we just gave 5% to all the school districts that, are spending it on, parties and lobbyists.
Yeah, the approach is good.
Well, then they turn around and blame us, they gave us that big increase a few years ago and said we shouldn't give it all out in salaries.
Yep.
Even though they said that's what it was supposed to be.
That's exactly what we said it was for.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to adopt a resolution to support the 2026 Invest document outlining NAS priorities heading into the 2026-27 legislative session.
I'll second it.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 5, update on current teacher vacancies remaining unfilled for the 26-27 school year as of June 9th, 2026.
All right, should be quick. We don't have a major update here, just a couple changes. I wanted to give one last one as we roll into the summer. I don't intend to have this on the next board agenda, but I can address it in my soup notes if we have anybody. So just a couple things. Most of it's come through people changing positions, and we did have one resignation from one of the teachers that had accepted a job and then backed out. So you'll see here that over here at Sonoma, we now have a sped opening. That's because we had a teacher move to 2nd grade. Mrs. Lefevre moved to 2nd grade over in Grass Valley. And so that leaves us a vacancy over at Sonoma Heights in the special education department. You will see, and I texted everybody, but you'll see that we finally were able to secure a principal at Grass Valley. So Mr. Clay Sagers will be taking over that realm. One piece of that is he's going to be working on hiring a vice principal. Most likely that'll be an internal candidate, which we all want. We want to grow our own, but it'll leave a teaching vacancy somewhere. So I anticipate we'll have one more teaching vacancy probably within the next week and a half or so as Mr. Sagers goes to make his decision on that. Yeah. The other move that we had that vacancy. So this was one of the employees we had hired. She decided to back out and not take her contract next year. So that one just came up last week. So in the elementary world, we're sitting at one special education teacher, one 5th grade teacher, and then a vice principal. So 2 positions, or I guess 3 positions right now, rolling into the summer months.
Clay's position that he's leaving at the high school.
Oh, potentially that could be, that could be
That's
some.
another one,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That could
That could come
potentially
out
be
of
a
the
teaching
teaching
position.
pool too.
Yep, absolutely. So there's one more there. No,
And then what about McDermott admin?
yeah, we still don't have anybody out there yet, so, and I'll get to that in just a sec. And then moving down to the secondaries, we did have a change. We lost an 8th grade English teacher at the junior high. She ended up going in, she has a school psych degree and took the school psych position that we've had posted for a while. So we're on the hunt for an 8th grade English teacher now.
Can't really complain about moving into psych though.
No.
It's one of our hard ones
Oh,
to get
yeah,
hired.
no, those ones are
We
really
do
hard
have
to get to.
A sub that is interested if we don't find a certified.
Oh, okay.
That's
How
very
close
well,
are they to being
very well
certified?
received.
Okay. Perfect.
Do you know how close that
I
person is?
don't know the specifics, but we do have a plan if we can't find somebody certified.
Okay, out at McDermott, we are still looking for a principal, unfortunately. I wish I could report better news to everybody, but I don't know, that thing's been posted forever and it's tough. It's a tough one out there.
MVP?
No, we won't have a VP out there. We removed that position, so. And then in the rurals, we're still looking for that teacher in denial. Again, if all else fails, we certainly have Susan, who has a sub-license that can work out there if we need it. As of right now, we only have 3 students enrolled. We have 4 now. Okay, so we're close to that magic number.
Scrolling.
I know, and I know that Mrs. Molina is working on contacting the families out there to get those that Ron and I met with signed up. So again, an absence there. And then, yeah, I forgot, and I have not updated and removed Clay from over here. So there's the potential we'll most likely fill that with an internal. And so we'll be looking at 3 teaching positions across the district, and then that glaring suit at principal position out in McDermott.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at. Are there any questions on the staffing update as we roll into summer? Still excited. I mean, that's still better than we are rolling into most summers, honestly.
It's great.
Yeah.
Just having to secure 1 or 2 is really good, really good. I remember them, I was at the golf course in August when they talked Tim Connors into taking the English position, like a week before school started, so.
Yeah, I can remember.
A lot of
we
bribery
had
that day,
19
so.
openings. at one time.
Yeah, we had,
Yeah.
there've been years.
There have been years when we move into the beginning of August and it's like, oh, we still have 20 positions, and we're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, our teachers have been on it, so our principals have been on it, they've been doing a good job, so.
any questions or comments?
Nope.
All right, seeing none, moving on to item 6, presentation, review, and approval of the 26-27 HCSD distance education course plan for possible action.
All right, so Mr. Christina, I'll turn this item over to you.
Yeah, so this one's gonna be quick, you guys. We got, really nothing has changed other than on this application or this amendment. The state superintendent's changed, so I made that change on the front form to reflect that. The only real pushback we might get is if this process has changed as people have moved in and out of the Department of Ed. So I can see that kind of on the horizon potentially, but as of right when we started this work, we really started this work in January and trying to line it up and talking with Brooke and getting a grant to make a shift back to Edgenuity, which is a little more dynamic program for 6 through 12 services. It's a little bit more of a cost, but we're hoping to get that, 2 things. We're hoping to get that number to a manageable number, which I think we did with our quote over a 3-year period, and then also to be able to make that happen through grant funding, which would benefit, would free up some other funds for other things. So the only other change in this document would be adding those courses from the state approved course list with that vendor. So the majority of the distance ed program is staying the same. If you see where we have the Pearson courses listed, those will stay because there's a potential to not get the grant. There's a potential for utilizing some of those courses in the interim or potentially going back to them if other variables don't line up, but we're gonna leave those alone. We simply added the Edgenuity course catalog to the document. So other than that, they offer similar ways to get your credits from the 6 through 12 level. So, any questions on that?
Our program here, since it's grant, funded, would it fit in our invest stuff that was up above to ask, for substantiated propagating funding for just it instead of always grant hunting for it?
Well, we get the per pupil allotment for those kids that are in our distance education.
Oh, we do?
Our own-
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Question.
Oh, yeah, that's why we built that program.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah. So Ron, really the
So
only
that's
cost
better
for
than
us is the
homeschool.
curriculum.
Yes, and that's
Which is
part of why we
a
expanded
big
that
cost.
also.
Yeah, no, that's,
Because
yeah.
it
I
helped
just-
us capture more
like I said,
kids
just
to
changing
that.
the
Yes.
idea of
So we don't
funding
lose those
mechanisms
kids
and
so much.
looking, outside the box
We've got our own
type thing.
homeschool.
And really why this is coming to you guys is it's a requirement with the charter between the district and the State Department, as part of their existing process. Is that we bring it to you guys for approval, any amendment to the program. Usually they're bigger changes like, we kick them out after a week or, it can vary, but yeah, this one's just really updating those curricular choices, so.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2026-27 HCSD distance education course plan.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
That one is signed.
Moving on to
Yeah, I
items.
believe that one we have to sign.
Moving on to item 7, presentation and review of Superintendent Colby Corbett's evaluation for 25-26 school year.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, for getting my evaluation in. I'm gonna actually turn it over to Abe to provide a review of what happened and what the comments were and the scoring was, and then I'll provide any comments I have at the end.
All right. So Colby and I had an opportunity earlier today to go through his evaluation. I'm gonna address each goal separately. For the most part, address the comments that appeared the most often and things like that. After each goal, if there's, if I missed something that you all felt was important to state, then, go ahead and share it at that point, and then we'll move on to the next goal. But I tried to capture everything the major points that were mentioned in the evaluation. So moving to goal one is to establish a system-wide vision and strategic alignment. Colby's scores were 4 for the most part across the board with a 3.5. We did averages with Dave, so just in case you wanted an average, the average score was 3.93. You'll see that each of the scores hover around an average of 4. The primary strengths that were outlined with regard to this goal were Colby establishing a clear outline of what the district is trying to accomplish and what we're trying to accomplish within the district. Colby communicating a clear vision, aligning schools to a common purpose. Colby's strong communication with his stakeholders and our stakeholders, quick and accurate response to concerns, keeping students at the forefront of his and the district's decision-making. It was noted that Colby has and has demonstrated a genuine commitment to the district and focuses on the district priorities that we've established. Communicating those priorities to staff and administration, and areas for growth, making the goals more clear, making our priorities more clear to the public and the stakeholders. Additionally, having evidence of communications that ensure that our alignment continues and is fully ingrained in each of the individual school sites. Having more deliberation in his responses to ensure all angles, all options have been thoroughly vetted and considered. Balancing relationship building with clear accountability. More consistent updates regarding individual school progress and how each school's work align with the district's strategic priorities. So for the most part, those were Colby's strengths with regard to goal 1, and then the feedback for Colby on things that he can work on. Does anyone have anything that outside of those items that they'd like to share? All right, seeing none, we'll move to goal 2. Goal 2 is building strong relationships and trust with stakeholders. Colby's scores, for the most part, were 4, with a high of a 4.3, so 4.04 average score. The comments on Colby's strengths predominantly were that this being establishing relationships with stakeholders, with teachers, with the community, with the other administrators is one of Colby's greatest strengths. Colby developing a team that can work together very well, and his leadership over that team. One individual stated that with regard to the challenges that we've faced and that Colby's faced in his first year as superintendent, that Colby has taken those challenges head on. And that the people that are under him follow his lead with regard to taking those challenges head on. Colby's approachable and has a collaborative leadership style that encourages communication. He's visible in the schools and at community events, and he's approachable. One individual cited that Colby always, in his communication with stakeholders with us, Colby always is direct and upfront. He gives it to us straight, as that individual highlighted. Areas for growth. I'd like to see a better solution for our tribal population. It's difficult, the individual acknowledges, considering the distance and other challenges presented in managing this location. That's something that we would like to see Colby focus on. In addition, a more disciplined approach with our contracted companies in regard to school repair and construction, more accountability and higher expectations for timely communication and transparency with the project's timeline, and a district-wide formal maintenance checklist and report. That Colby continues strengthening communication regarding how stakeholder feedback influences actions and outcomes, and find ways to capture stakeholder input to demonstrate their perspective on trust and confidence. So with regard to goal 2, does anyone else have anything that they wish to add?
No, I do appreciate the tribal population comment. I did not write that one, but I, especially, it's not that I forget about my government, but I do not do a good enough job of getting out there regularly enough. So when I do get out there, it just really refocuses some of the things.
Yeah,
that
and
I
that's what's
need
great
to do.
about these is if you're focused on one thing and the other one, it's in your back of your mind and then you don't write it down, but somebody else did and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes, I just thank you for whoever brought that up. I thought that is something that we need to look at.
100%.
All right, any other comments with regard to goal 2? All right, moving on to goal 3, ensuring strong fiscal stewardship and effective governmental relationships. Again here, Colby averaged a 4.04 with a high of 5 and a low of 3. Colby's strengths regarding goal 3. Many comments about Colby's job, fantastic job of cutting our budget down without having to cut positions. An acknowledgement of how Colby is always pursuing additional funding opportunities and has been dedicated to reducing expenses and very active. An example of that being in Colby being very active in pursuing new insurance models to reduce costs. An appreciation for Colby making these difficult decisions, particularly with reflect to the budget, making those decisions in a clear and concise way. A few people noted that oftentimes when looking at budget cuts and things like that, you'll hear from stakeholders complaints or some unsettlement, and that those types of comments were at a minimum, and credited that to the soundness of Colby's decision-making, the relationships he's built with stakeholders, and the effectiveness of his communication with those stakeholders. And then Colby's been effective in seeking grant support and has attended regular NAS meetings as support to his involvement in building those governmental relationships. All right. With regard to areas for growth, it was noted that we should make an effort to get after any money available to us, actively approaching entities such as businesses and things like that in search of funding. Research on funding mechanisms like a special tax just for school districts, determining new models of education that could potentially cost less and improve outcomes. And then there were a few comments with regard to focusing on a longer range budgeting and financial forecasting with a focus on legislative advocacy efforts in order to, I guess, help prepare us in the case that funding continues to be inadequate. Does anyone have any comments with regard to goal 3 that they'd like to share?
I just like what everybody wrote there. I think it's been on all of our talks that from the Fed and state level, our funding amounts are flat. And looking at, at the bigger picture and just changing our funding mechanism, being proactive and going forward is the only way we're going to save ourselves, because no one's coming to save us. We have to do it ourselves. We have to figure out a way. My Lonnie's special buddy Ira Hansen and all them are there for themselves and not for us. We all know that. So
Well, and they did
I appreciate those comments.
I let him know
this
that.
year you did great. I just know we can't be reactive, and we don't know, like you guys are pointing out, like give us something to work with, because this can't be a guessing game.
Yeah.
And I think until that happens, we're probably going to be reactive a lot of the time, but if we can find ways to just be proactive with.
Well, and I think something that came up in our workshop was we were talking over here that conflict often creates the best innovation, and I really do think that's where we really gotta look at innovation. And sometimes there will not be any money on the horizon, and so we have to figure out how to do it better with less. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean it's less teachers. It might mean it's less money spent on books or whatever. But having a model that's more efficient, that is getting more miles per gallon, I guess is what we got to really try to find. And I think it's great. I also want to say I really like this review format way better than the old one.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can see all the stuff, I can read it. I think it's a great list of things that, obviously where we're sitting from now, which I think is great. You're as transparent as you are with us. Having this out there to see is great for you, and it's great for me to say. This is really cool.
Yeah,
I do appreciate you making the averages up, because that was the only thing that, like, I liked seeing the average overall, so thank you for doing that. But I like that we can comment on your strengths, but then also give you like areas of growth. One thing I do want to say that the evaluation, because we're doing it off the goals, can't capture is that you were faced with a lot of significant challenges in your very first year.
Really?
A lot of significant challenges.
Just one or two, I think.
I'm blaming them all on Dustin.
Yeah.
Some that were publicly, public challenges that everybody got to see, but there were also a lot of behind the scenes challenges that you faced that due to, confidentiality and stuff weren't really talked about. And so I just really want to commend you on all the challenges that you faced, because you kept a good mindset through it all. You kept kids first at the forefront of your mind. You kept us as informed as you could, again, with following laws and everything. And I just want to tell you that I really appreciate the way you handled it this year. You never really lost your mind over all of it. And
Not
yeah, I was gonna say, but you're down with a lot of stress, and I know you had a lot of sleepless nights, but.
I don't know, I've thought about it, but I don't, the thing I appreciate is I don't necessarily know that every year isn't, it's obviously you're not gonna be as chaotic with stuff like the grammar school stuff, but the big stuff that's out there, I don't know that it's not always like that, and we just never heard about it. And I appreciate the transparency, I appreciate being involved in the decisions, this board being involved in the decisions to help try to navigate through this stuff, and at least knowing. I'll tell you, there wasn't a single thing that came out that I didn't know about before someone in the public asked me. And that's the first time. Not to bag on Dave or anything. I think Dave just figured I'll take care of this and I'll let everybody know. And boy, for me, the model of knowing first and helping navigate through was way better. And I appreciate that a ton, because boy, we had a lot of fun stuff to deal with. It was exciting.
Yeah. I had to set this county record for views on Facebook.
Well, and I think, again, like when you said, with Dave, I think Dave had been here so long that he had seen so much turnover with board. He's been through multiple boards, so he was always used to taking care of it. When this being your first year, you really kind of had that collaborative approach of, hey, I don't know how to handle this, and I know you guys don't either, so let's learn together. And so
You made us work, and that's good.
Yeah.
I've learned more this year on this board than I have the last time.
Thank you.
And so that's not a discredit to anybody. I think it's just more of that transparency and having the materials and knowing things ahead of time so you can really dig in. It's been good. Thank you.
But I appreciate the way you handled all of the challenges.
Thanks. Well, and I love this format. Roy actually helped me build this out. So again, losing that guy's gonna be big in my career, especially. But everything you guys noted in there is spot on. As I started reading them as they came in, I think I got Lonnie's first and Ron's, and I was able to look at these others. Those are all areas I understand in myself I need to grow in. I said it, I want to be good at this job. I didn't want this job moving into it, but now that I got it, I'm going to be good at it. So, all those things help me, and I'm not afraid of constructive criticism. And I just appreciate your guys' honesty and your transparency with me, because I swear I'll work on those things, and all those things I'll get better at. So, I love this format. So those scores meant nothing to me. I actually didn't even look at the scores, to be honest with you. I went straight to the comments, and I went straight to the areas for growth first. So I'm just kind of the guy I am, I suppose. But thank you for those comments, and I could tell they were meaningful to you and thought out, and it's things I'll work on for sure. So appreciate it, all you guys did, and I appreciate you guys as a board.
Thanks, Cody.
Do you have any other further questions or comments? Then I would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we accept the review of Superintendent Colby Corbett's evaluation for the 25-26 school year.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Now for Dustin.
On to our final item, item 8, annual board goal review for the 25-26 school year.
Well, I had this one follow up since we really screwed this one up and we didn't even make board goals this year. So, so you can't dock me for that one now, too late. When I went back and looked, I'm like, oh man, we never even went through this. So
And Kobe actually called me earlier and he's like, did we do board goals? And I was like, oh, we We didn't.
Yeah, so when you guys go through your self-assessment, we're gonna have to reflect on the ones from a couple of years ago, but they were still pertinent, you know, I went back and reviewed them today and I went, well, those are still things we were trying to work on as a team, right?
So we're gonna get that lousy form again?
You get that lousy form, but yeah, let's look at those goals real quick. So, you know, you guys have chosen two things, right, to really focus on. Personalized learning was number one on your agenda. I don't think that's anything that's left the forefront of our minds, and we talk about it in meaningful ways every meeting. We hit on your guys' belief system's outstanding for a board. You know, you guys could easily come in and hit me over the head with star ratings and school improvement and all that other nonsense, but everything you guys come in with is we want to see these pathways for kids. We want to see these different areas for showing different pieces of improvement or how we measure kids differently. So I don't think that's changed. I mean, I think that comes up in every single board meeting. So I think score yourself on that personalized learning piece is excellent. And then second is community involvement, which absolutely will probably never stop being important, right? And just getting that message of what our board does out to the community, especially in a year like this year. You know, we've really had to be actively involved in communicating our efforts, communicating why we're doing what we're doing.
Crawling under schools.
Yeah, so.
What a learning curve.
Yeah.
I mean, it's spiked.
Yeah, spiked real fast. So go ahead, talk about these.
Thinking about Lori's comment, you know, we all really liked the format that we did for Colby's. Why can we not do that for our board?
Can't we just take this sheet right here and just make our comments on it?
Yeah, and that's what
And
I
rate
mean,
ourselves?
but we have to remember, we're rating ourselves as a whole, but let's
Yeah.
talk about, you know, let's say what were our wins, what were our strengths, and what areas do we feel we need to improve as a board? We all enjoyed that format, and I really think those comments would help us as a board too.
Well, this is why I still think that board reports are so important, or at least that section of time, because at one point we did have the sheets that we were kind of filling out for Judy, and we did and didn't, and
Yeah.
but it's like, I don't always know what everybody, unless I run into you somewhere, which I do run into a lot of you, a lot of places, but it's like, sometimes it's hard to rate community involvement if we don't really have
Yeah.
an idea of what other people on the board are doing. I can rate myself, and I know I could do better, but I could do worse, right? So it's like, but I'd like to know. And so sometimes this part gets hard without having some sort of a measure, like
Well, and I
way to
think
measure it.
that's where we got, I think, a little off track on board reports too, because I know there were things that every single one of you were doing that you didn't even talk about at the board, because it was just to you guys, it's, oh, like, you know, I did it, that's what I should be doing, but do I feel like it's something I should bring to the board? Like, if you go see a school, talk about it. If you talk to somebody about what's going on at grammar, bring it to the board, like, you know.
And
I
then
think we're
if
not
it's too late for this, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, moving forward, I just think like, just have a way of measuring. You know, Colby was able to like put together some sort of bullet points to show us, demonstrate what he's done to his goals, where right now I feel like we're doing this, but I don't know how well I'm gonna have my arms around it.
Because like, I remember, because you bringing it up reminded me that Judy actually sent all those out to all of us one year when we went to do our evaluation, all those forms we filled out. So maybe that's something we need, how would everybody feel about bringing that back? Coming up with a new form to
It
do.
seems like a lot of work for something that I don't know that, I
Well,
don't
and I
know
don't
that we got as
necessarily-
much out of it. Maybe if we brought it back and it was less, I'd hate.
Different format.
Yeah, I'd hate to throw that work on Judy just because there's a lot of stuff, we don't do now. A good example would be going to junkets over in Reno that we're not getting anything out. We're not spending that money on that kind of stuff, even though that was a section on our deal, you know, so I think an activity list would be great. I think we have to be better personally about just bringing it up and letting everybody know.
Yeah.
I'm with
And
that.
I don't think we need to put anything in writing and make Judy.
Yeah, I just don't want
No.
to, we're just talking about getting rid of work for these guys.
Right.
I still want a maintenance list. I don't want to start
I would
another.
say what I would like to say is, doing the form, once you guys gave me what you wanted, it's you just put it on there, and then I make a copy and give it to you, and you guys write your little things.
Right.
It's no big deal to put in there, so it's not any more work on me. What I will say is, in the big picture, you had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You remember all those
Yeah.
things.
Well, and that's where I think
What it-
more we have these two things now. So if we were to have a form, it would just focus on these two things. And it could even be just like a little checklist of, you know, this past 2 weeks, did you do a site visit? You know,
See,
did you
that's,
go to a
that's
school?
was my
Check,
point.
you know.
When you guys saw that, because I could hear comments, oh man, I haven't done this in a long time. I didn't realize, I forgot. And if you do it at every meeting, and it's only every 2 weeks or so, it's fresh in your mind to remember. And then when you get to your review, you go, wow, we really did go and visit a lot of things, or I didn't do this. And you guys would say, remember, it's for the entire board. If you and you couldn't go, but you guys did, overall, I think it gave you guys a really good picture. You forget exactly how much stuff you guys really do and all the places you go. So that is, I thought that was helpful for you guys.
And I think sometimes, yeah, with the board reports, you know, you call me, I go, oh my gosh, you know, I hadn't even thought about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, that's why
You
you
know,
moved
like,
away from
I've
calling
been
on
to French Fork to
individuals.
talk to them how they felt about the K through 6,
Yeah.
you know, I've been to the grammar school a couple times, I went out to Grass Valley, you know, but I didn't report that stuff because, you know, it's kind of on the spot and just like, yeah.
Well, I think this year's been so absolutely insane that we've done a lot. I mean, I've never crawled under a school in the past years. I've probably talked to, I would say at least 50 or 60 I communicate with 50 or 60 community members weekly. Whether they're making comments on, you know, on stuff that I do at the school, running into them, you know, lots of email chains back and forth. My messenger's packed with that stuff, just on you know, the school stuff, the Amade funding, I mean, you name it. There's just a lot more people, a lot more stuff going on. I don't think we see that stuff, but man, it doesn't matter. Anywhere I've been, they've generally been long conversations. They've been very, very, some contentious, some of them not so much. You know, but it's been a lot of communication and a lot of different activities to navigate through this stuff, going out to the lithium mine and doing the tour, you know, out of the school site, all that kind of stuff. It's this year specifically, it's been a lot. And I'll be honest, some of that stuff, I'm not going to report to anybody because it's, you know, some of it, community members ask me to keep it private, you know, whether it's a school thing or the K through 6 thing or the, you know, 4-day week thing. I mean, all that kind of stuff that's out there. I think we all have to, when we're doing these assessments on the board as a whole, we've got to consider that, you know, boy, I'll tell you, for as much challenge as we've had this year, I think we've navigated it very, very successfully, all of us. Colby's the leader, that's the job, so we expect it, but we've all been on the back. Dustin's been, you know, picking up the slack. I mean, all of us have had to do something, you know, our maintenance department, calling people and getting our roles all scheduled. I mean, it just absolutely amazing team effort by a bunch of individuals.
Right.
They're putting students first.
And another point, Lonnie, just to go along with what you said, Colby, you got people, you got the city manager involved. You got the county assessor involved, just because I know them. But, you know, you've got a lot of people involved. You talk about community involvement. They were in the, you know, they were in the trenches with us, wanting us to make the right decision and willing to help us make those right decisions.
So I kind of have two thoughts. One, like I said, we all seem to really like the format that we did for Colby. But I would add a line in ours too, because we've all talked about this so far this year that I've noticed just in this meeting alone. Adding a line of, what are some things that we learned this year? Because we always talk about, reflection learning.
I like that.
So doing, what do we feel like we did well? What can we improve on? And reflection.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate self-assessments.
So, hold on.
We want to maybe take the number system out of it?
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. Don't do the numbers. Do like what we did for Colby basically, but without the numbers.
Yeah.
The other thought process I had, and this is something, Colby, maybe you'll remember, when Colby very first went to come on, we still had some of those sessions with Marty. And so Colby and I, along with Dave, did some team building sessions with Marty. And one of the things that he had actually recommended, and Colby and I were like, oh, let's just get through our first year first, was doing 2 board evaluations. One is we evaluate ourselves as a whole. But then we also evaluate ourselves and discuss as a board. Where do we feel like we did a strong? Where do we feel like we need to improve? What are some things we learned? And so I don't know if the board would be interested in, do we want to have a self-evaluation that we discuss?
Yeah,
I'll probably put it in mine anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I would write I, or
Yeah.
me, I wouldn't, other ones would be the group did, and then that's.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
we've
just
all
that
said,
way.
we were more involved this year than we've ever been.
Mhm.
well, I think by nature, we're gonna, being self-critical, I don't know that that's, I don't know that it's helpful. Other people adding in, I'm not, because if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm gonna tell you I'm doing my job, and that's just the way I grew up. That's what, so it's the self-critique. I don't know that anybody or myself gets it. I'm my biggest, I'm my biggest critic.
Biggest critic.
We're all twos.
Yeah, I'm one at best on most of these things. So it's, I'm just trying my best, I'm trying my hardest all the time. That's gonna be reflected in any self-evaluation I ever do. I always sell myself short. I tell my kids, if you're doing a self-evaluation, you're the best that ever lived on the planet, because they're giving you the opportunity to tell them what you think. But I'm no good at that. I don't even think my kids are.
That's why I don't like the point system at all.
Yeah.
I don't
What
care.
we've
I
done
don't.
well, but what we could improve.
Yeah,
like-
I think the board, which is all of us, is the way to go. I mean, we can add self-evaluations in there. You guys will know exactly which one's mine. I can promise.
Well, and that's why I said, it was something Marty had brought up. I don't want to make the decision for the board. It's, if you guys would like to do self-evaluations, great. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But again, it was just a point that Marty.
What we're already.
I think, yeah, Ron's right. It's-
But
it's
is
gonna ruin the
everybody-
whole thing, yeah.
Is everybody on board though with the changing our format
Oh,
to
totally.
a point system?
I think it's great.
Okay.
No more rubric.
So I'll create something under here that has strengths, areas for growth, and then reflection, right? Three
Okay.
columns, headings.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can get that emailed out.
And we're just
to
gonna
everybody tomorrow.
get rid of the points.
Okay, yeah.
And in that reflection, you're gonna get a lot of personal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's gonna be.
No,
Yeah.
and that's, I think,
Other of us are gonna forget.
I like it. Okay.
Cool, I can do that.
perfect.
And then we'll just have them turned into A by next, not
No,
this
those
Friday.
go to you.
Oh, these
Work
go
ones
to me.
go straight to you.
Turn them into me.
Slow down.
Bye.
I was trying to pass them.
When you look in by.
By Friday,
Well, we don't have another meeting now until the end of July.
we know we have one
No,
on the
we can,
23rd.
June.
Oh yeah, I won't be here for that one, that's why.
So by the 19th or whatever that Friday is, if you guys can have it to me, that'd be great. And I can compile that information.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, everybody. I'll get that created and emailed out to you guys in the morning.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any further comments on item 8? Okay, seeing none, moving on to item H, public comment. Is there any public comment this evening? Seeing none,
No, I got some.
you're not
Oh, public comment.
public comment.
It's okay, Lori, we're almost there.
It's okay, Lori, we've been here a long time. Okay, moving on to item I, board reports.
There we go.
Lori, you said you had something.
I told her about Kings River graduations, and they were awesome. I love going to those small schools. Orvada's was great. I think they had, 8 or 9 graduates?
Yeah, we had 4 eighth graders and 5 kindergartners.
Yeah, and it was just tremendous, just great. And then Kings River, Rich and I went to the school first. So that's a long ways out there, so we were a little late, but just, people were so nice and just did it great. They only had 1 graduate, but it was just great. And so that's a lot of fun. I like going to those. And then I've told Colby this, but he's the only one I've told. I was appointed to the NIAA Board of Control.
You will represent us well.
Yes, you will.
I hope so.
I voted for you.
Did
Good job.
Everybody voted.
Well, good,
No
congratulations.
wonder I made you those brownies.
Does
That's it.
anybody else have anything?
I attended the Sonoma PBL gallery walk. It was nice. It was good to see these kiddos made all of their demonstrations. Some of them were natural disasters. Some of them were, they ranged all over the place. But it was really cool to walk through the school and watch the smiles on their faces while they presented to an adult. They were very, very excited. I also attended the grammar school year-end assembly and awards. One, my niece was receiving an award, but also I wanted to go because I know there were a few retirements out of that school, longtime teachers that they were being recognized, so it was nice to see that. Went to McDermott's kindergarten and 12th grade graduation events. I did have the opportunity of meeting a lady by the name of Teresa Melendez, which we introduced you guys to. She's really great. She's doing some legislative work that has to do with schools that support primarily Native populations. So we exchanged contact information and kind of staying in touch with her and hopefully seeing what we can do outside of the normal funding streams to help out our McDermott people. And then lastly, I was recommended and accepted to serve as the Humboldt County affiliate at the state level for communities and schools. I'll be serving that term for the next 3 years, and I look forward to bringing some rural voice to the table for them.
That's great. I was gonna mention this earlier, I played in that golf tournament that Jenna helped put on. And she was instrumental in making that thing work. I mean, community schools, they were running it, but
Oh, I
She
didn't
was
do
in the middle
anything.
of it.
I just
You
went
were in
around
the
and
middle
talked
of
to people, which is what I'm good at.
yeah.
Congratulations, Jenna, thank you. Does anybody else have anything?
Just that, the mail-in voting's been going on for a while. Polls open today, I believe. And for those of us that ran unopposed, EA team, welcome, Bonnie.
Yes.
It takes one, so you're it. And, yeah, for everybody else that are on the ballot, good luck.
Yeah, polls are open till 7 p.m., so.
I know I'm getting out of here. I gotta go.
Hey, I had my thing on, I lost it, dang it.
I just wanted to, once again, congratulate the Lowry grads this year. All the kids really, but Lowry grads specifically, and on a personal note, just thank all the kids that went into the service. It was great seeing how many we had. I think we had 5 or 6 Army guys and three Marines that I saw, Navy, Air Force. Absolutely awesome. As a kid that graduated and was walking into boot camp 3 weeks after graduation, had a lot of pride for all of those kids.
Mhm.
That's the most we've had on.
It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome to see. I love it.
And the adult education, one that we all went to is once again fantastic.
Always good.
Yeah.
That was actually what I was gonna add. If you get a chance next year to go to the adult ed graduation, I'd encourage you. Those, they're not kids, but those young adult stories are unreal. And the obstacles they overcome to get to that point is touching every year, you know. The young lady I was talking to before, just, you can't even imagine the curveballs that life throws at these kids, and they still manage to do it. So pretty powerful night.
A young lady that gave the speech, I think she has 5 children.
5 kids.
And on top of getting them through everything she went through, to take 2 years, 3 years to complete. Yeah, so like a commitment to get it done, and she did it. So it was awesome.
It's cool. I strongly encourage everybody to attend if you can next year. So.
Anybody else have anything?
I have one more thing. You reminded me of this, Lonnie. I went to a first grade program this year, and it was all patriotic songs. And it was the most awesome elementary school program I have ever been to. It was great. And so I just love that about us.
Remember that on your
Humboldt County.
email.
Huh?
Remember that on your email. It's coming out tomorrow. No, that's, yeah. Yeah, it's a reflection.
It's amazing to see.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, I want to kind of echo what everybody said. Congratulations to all the grads. I think graduation is one of those things that really remind us why we are doing what we do. And then I just really want to say thank you to everybody for your support on the Orvada school contract. That has been a 5-year project. It started with Dave Jensen, and Tim Crowley has been a part of this project from the beginning. Susan Fry has been hugely instrumental with myself pretty much being the last one in the district that really was on this project from the very beginning. Sue was hugely instrumental in kind of helping me remember where we started, historical information and everything. So she was really key at the very last meeting. So before the last community meeting Orvada had with Lithium Americas, the Thacker Pass Working Group actually had an individual meeting with them, and they invited me in to be able to come and talk about the school stuff. And that is really where we ended up finally ironing out those last final details. And I want to thank Eaton and Tim Crowley for really hearing the community at that point. And we were really kind of asking for some final things that they weren't sure they were gonna have the money for, but they came back, they realized how important it was to the community, and they came back and really came through. So while it does not look like we originally pictured it, I do really appreciate all the collaboration that came in on this project. And so I just want to thank everybody involved and thank all of you guys for your support along the way, because it has been huge. And this is really going to keep our kids out there safe, because as a parent and a community member and seeing the traffic and the things that are going on around the school, not just with the traffic, but some other developments that are going on around the school, it's gonna be a huge step in keeping our kids safe, so just thank you guys for supporting that. Okay, there's no further board reports. Are there any, moving on to item J, future agenda items? Is there anything anybody would like to see?
Just want to throw out something about funding mechanisms. We've been talking about it a lot. Like I said, we've got to be proactive for ourselves and figure out, a Humboldt County School District tax or something that works just for us. It doesn't go into the state general fund. It's just here for our type of thing. I mean, even if it's stuff like, when Nevada Gold Mines donates a tree, we got enough trees. How about, take the money from that and put it somewhere where we can use it? Because we need dollars. We need pesos and cents. We don't need trees. We don't need, some of that other stuff. That comes with other things. But yeah, our future budget is going to depend on it, because like I said, no one's coming to save us, because that mechanism they have in place at the federal and state level is not going away anytime soon, and we're the ones stuck with the bill. So I don't know if we had a lot of success with the committee that Lori was on, with everything. Maybe a committee with the teachers and the admin and those guys. I mean, honestly, if you want to raise, help us generate some funds to be able to give it to you, because right now it's not going to happen with what's going on. So I mean, we're our own best, whatever you want to call it, combatants. So that was my only thought about a future agenda item.
Thank you, Ron. Lori?
McDermott, I think we need to visit about McDermott, keep that on the agenda. Ron, or Lonnie, you brought this up a couple of years ago, we forget about them. And then all of a sudden it hits and we're going, oh my gosh, what do we, and it's the old Einstein theory, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting something to change. Maybe it needs a big change out there. I don't know. But
Yeah, innovation.
the good thing, as I see, we've got teachers. I remember we were teaching online for quite some time, Serena out there, and that's tough for students and everybody else involved. But, we can't find a principal now and that, so I don't know. If we could get that on the agenda and just plug away at it.
Good one.
Thank you, Lori. Anybody else? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Motion is unanimous. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
No, Ron,
Over here, someone else.